Well, Razorback fans, it was a big day for the football side of things. Some additions, some people coming back. So what does it all mean? Well, let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors, the number one Razorback podcast in the world. And it's always great to catch up with each and every one of you as we get ready for a big weekend. We'll talk about some Razorback basketball. We'll also get into the big reveal of the Razorback football schedule for 2026. That's right. It officially came out. And we'll get to a few things like that. But I wanted to start just kind of like I do with every podcast. Once again, actually saying thank you and for being patient with me. As you can tell, my backdrop, it's not where it needs to be just yet, slowly but surely coming along. It's very early in the morning as I'm just now getting a chance to record because it's just been one of them weeks whenever you're moving. So I appreciate everyone's patience on everything. But what a big day it was for Arkansas. A big day for Arkansas in some of the additions that they're making. And it seems like each and every day, it's like, it's like the 12 days of Christmas, if you will. There's just always a new addition, a new story. And I felt like it was really fascinating that yesterday morning, and I want to make sure I get the time right here. Yesterday morning, Ryan Silverfield, the head coach of Arkansas, just tweeted out, "Good morning, Razorbacks." And he did it at 6:45 in the morning. And he had a picture of Razorback Stadium. That's all it was. So anytime something like that happens, I'm always like, okay, with a new coach, something's going to happen today. Does it mean something like major? Does it mean something as far as good news, bad news? Does it mean a new coach? Does it mean new players? Whatever it means is up for debate. But as soon as that happened, I retweeted it. I was like, okay, this is going to be a big day. Well, it started off actually with some negative news because Arkansas lost linebacker Tavion Wallace. He was a true freshman this past year. He's 6'1", 240. And what was crazy is that he was one of the top linebackers in the class, like one of the top players in Arkansas's class. And he actually played 9 games this year. Didn't have a whole lot of impact as far as anything crazy and comparatively speaking, but still, it was a pretty significant blow to Arkansas, especially on the depth side of things when it comes to the linebacker position. So was really hopeful that was going to work out for him. So I was like, all right, well, already, I doubt that's what Silverfield really was tweeting about, but already we are off to a weird start here. But then as the day went on, this came from Adam Rittenberg, Arkansas is set to hire TJ Rushing as cornerbacks coach. He was most recently at Auburn as safeties coach and coached the defensive backs at Texas A&M and elsewhere, worked with Arkansas coach Ryan Silverfield at Memphis in 2018 and 2019. So already off the bat, it's like, okay, I see. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, man, I know all about TJ Rushing before he was even reportedly hired. It's like, no, I had to kind of go into it a little bit and see what we were getting with him. And I reached out to some people like at Auburn and as well as Texas A&M and what they thought about him. Because let's be honest, I mean, he seems like a guy that is moved up in the ranks. And anytime you're coming off of a type of year and the type of defenses that you've coached, there's got to be something to it when it comes to those particular schools. And lo and behold, that's exactly what it was. Because every single person spoke highly, extremely highly of TJ Rushing and said that he was one of the young up-and-comer, diamond in the rough type of coaches that everyone can get really excited about and really stood out. And that had got me pretty excited. So I was like, okay, so already we're off to a great start there. And then on top of that, you get some key contributors coming back for next season. Offensive lineman Caden Kittler, the center, and Kobe Branham both announced that they will be returning next season. Now, this is huge for various reasons. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, Caden Kittler and Kobe Branham are the greatest offensive linemen that's ever been seen. I'm not going to say that, but I have felt like it's got to be really strong when it comes to keeping your offensive line together as much as possible, keeping as much familiarity as possible. We know that Carmona as well as Corey Robinson are just moving on. Like they lost eligibility and they lost Shaq McCrory the other day. So I was like, man, you got to retain some of them. So at least they're getting 2 starters. 2 starters back for sure. We'll see about a Marion Harris and if any decisions get made there. But pretty exciting stuff to have them back. So you add that into the mix, and one of the biggest ones, and it may be one that you may not see in the same light as you do coaches or anything like that. But originally, Football Scoop broke the story where Arkansas is hiring a guy by the name of Gazka Crowley, I believe is how you say his name. He is the new Razorback general manager. That's right. General manager. He's not taking the place of Remy Cofield. Remy Cofield's kind of over the entire department. This is just going to be where he is inserted from the football side of things and kind of runs the football side of things. So you're like, okay, so he comes from Arizona. What does that mean? What does that do for anything? Well, he is also somebody that's been a game changer when it comes to identifying talent and being that general manager of schools. So much so that various people from like Tom Loy from 24/7 Sports, people from CBS Sports, people very much in the know say that this is a huge blow for Arizona and a huge get for Arkansas. And that's, again, everybody can hype up anybody, but it always is pretty telling to me whenever I hear that from particular individuals that would be in the know and that would understand a little bit more about it. So immediately I got my kind of like my radar up about this particular individual and what he could be able to bring. And what it's essentially is going to be like is, he's going to be dealing with the players and, being in that role that a general manager normally would be. And again, I know it's kind of confusing because when a lot of people saw that, they just thought it was Remy Cofield. It's like, no, it's like each sport, or not, I shouldn't say each sport, but there's certain sports that'll have its own GM for right reasons. I mean, you got football, which is a huge animal, huge beast, and you got to be able to have someone specific there. And I think it's fantastic that they have one specifically. I think the fact that they even have a position is great. And the fact that they're hiring somebody like this who has so much experience, but also somebody that has really been a game changer for Arizona and been one of the big reasons why they flipped their season from like a 4-8 year to a 9-3 year. It's been because of him and the success that he's had. So that was big. That was big. And so you just kept adding in these little wins here and there. And I think one of the deals that, and kind of the question that I posed there in the graphic is like, how many coaches does Arkansas need? Because some of you have probably seen, oh, okay, well, you have 2 offensive line coaches and you kind of have maybe like 2 secondary coaches because you got Jerome Wilson coming back and then you got this DJ rushing guy. And so you have that. And then, you're looking for a quarterbacks coach because there's some reports out there, at least that from what I've heard and from very good sources, that Nathan Brown, the UCA head coach, might be coming on to the Razorback staff in some capacity. What I understand it as would be quarterbacks coach, which makes you think, okay, wait, how can he be the quarterbacks coach? What's the offensive coordinator going to be doing in addition to his position and everything like that? It is pretty confusing. But from my understanding, and what's kind of interesting about this whole thing is that you can now have more than 10 full-time coaches. Now, there can only be 10 full-time coaches that recruit and that can actually do recruiting, but you can have 10 full-time coaches or more than 10 full-time coaches. So I'm going to look at it through the glass half full like I normally do. We talked about the staff and how we were told it's going to blow people away. It's going to blow people away. It's going to be blowing people away. And you kept waiting on it. You kept wondering, like, okay, is there any reality to that? Or is it just something you're just trying to say to get everybody excited? Well, it might actually be pretty impressive because the way that it has transpired and the amount of coaches that they may be adding into the mix and having coaches that are really, next level great and all of that. It's like, maybe that's what they were meaning by blowing the mind is just the amount of coaches. Because that was one thing that we heard about before with Sam Pittman in the financial part of things was just not having enough money to put together a whole staff, or at least a staff that can, go up against other teams in the SEC. Because if you remember correctly, a lot of these teams and programs and schools and everything, they have like so many coaches and so much of a payroll for those coaches. Georgia's one of those big ones that they just have in droves, and how many coaches that can help them out and analysts and all of that. So I say all that to say this. you don't have to look at this situation and say, okay, well, just because you're hiring more coaches doesn't mean it automatically means better. And you're right. That's not just as simple as that. But as I've viewed it, we'll see how much these guys are getting paid. But how I viewed it was always going to be through the lens of, are they going to be compensated? Are they having the funding? Are they having the support and the fundraising for these coaches, for the program to go to that next level? Well, if you have a lot more than just those 10 full-time coaches, if you have a lot bigger staff, and we're not talking about just grad assistants, like we're talking about name coaches from name places that are pretty big additions, and you have quite a few of them, then I think that there's something that maybe could be pointed to there saying, you know what, maybe they do have some of this money that they've at least invested. Because, like we've talked about, I know that Arkansas has more than what they did under Sam Pittman, but do they have enough? That's the key ingredient. That's the key question. But none of these coaches have been made official just yet, although it might as well be. And we'll see how the ending of the staff plays out. And of course, we always talk about the portal, but the point is to all of it is you can't have enough coaches. If you have as many that can help you out in different regards and help you with recruiting and help you with scouting and help you with each and everything when it comes to trying to just have a collective, cohesive unit, this is something that you need to do. And I'm pleased by that. And I'm pleased that Arkansas is trying to do this. And I see it as nothing as a good thing, nothing but a good thing. It is a great thing. Because if you were going in there and you were getting, just this regular amount of coaches that weren't exactly the big names without the big experience, it'd be a little bit worrisome. But the fact that these coaches are people with experience and are people that have seemed to have really found their way and found their stride, it could be something to be pretty excited about and could be something to really watch out for as well. Well, the Razorback football schedule of 2026 got released just like every other SEC team. And yep, it's a doozy once again. We'll talk about and give our reaction. Stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, let's talk about something that most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life just doesn't switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rugy at Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rugy at Ready is the next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body, so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters the most. Rugy at Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in one mint that dissolves under your tongue and it absorbs fast. The science behind Rugy at Ready stands out: 3 clinically proven ingredients and one formula designed for both mental and physical readiness. You can connect with a brand-certified doctor online, and everything ships discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why 150,000 men have already made the switch. So if you've been thinking about taking the next step, now is the time. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order. For a limited time, Rugy Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. We're also presented by our good friends over at FanDuel, because we know that this is the time of year when there's so much going on in the sports world, especially in the college basketball ranks. Arkansas, Texas Tech coming up this weekend. Arkansas 1.5-point underdogs, but that's okay because we know the Hogs are going to win. It's not even going to be a contest. And we know also NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real life. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every single highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, the defense tightens up, or the momentum flips a turnover. And FanDuel helps you jump right into the moment. So live spreads and money lines, you can adjust instantly with those. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. It's FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So how about the schedule, huh? How about it? Sheesh. You know, I almost forgot yesterday about the schedule coming out. I was like, oh yeah, that thing's happening. And it still just did not have the pomp and circumstance that maybe it once did. But there is some really great things that stand out about it. And I know we're going to get into quite a few of them. But one of them being that it's the 9-game SEC schedule. It's the first time ever. We knew the opponents that Arkansas would be playing, and we knew where Arkansas would be playing them, but we didn't know when. And now that's been revealed. So just to kind of go through it all step by step here, North Alabama is going to be your first game of the season. We all knew that on September 5th. Then the second game of the season, you go to Utah, which we also knew. That's a tough game. I can't wait to go. Salt Lake City is going to be awesome. I was there in Provo a few years ago, so been looking forward to this, and it should be a great one. So can't wait to get to that one. And then you open up SEC play at home, which is good, against Georgia. Welcome to the SEC, Ryan Silverfield. You get to play the defending SEC champs, potentially the defending national champs, and the perennially greatest program in the SEC right now as far as consistency goes. First time out. Something about that. Sam Pittman had to do the same thing when it came to his SEC stint. So at least it's at home, right? And at least you get the home opener. So how about that? In the third week of October, folks, we get a home SEC game. When was the last time that's happened? Seems like forever ago. Well, then after you go through Georgia, you have Tulsa at home to round out September. So there you go. You get 3 home games in September, but 2 really tough ones at Utah and then Georgia. Then starts October. Shoe buddy. October 3rd, my birthday actually. Arkansas goes on the road to Texas A&M. Texas A&M. This game, of course, is no longer in Jerry World. It's just a home and home. So you go to A&M, and then you return back home to face Tennessee. That's right. Tennessee is coming back to Fayetteville. And I like the fact that Arkansas started playing Tennessee a lot more frequently. I know it's not going to be the way to where it's set in stone every year because we know the rotating schedule is going to be that. But I've just liked the fact that Arkansas has played Tennessee, what was the past 2 seasons, and like 2 out of the last 5, I think. And now it's going to be 3 of the last 6. So I'm all for that. So that's going to be, anytime Tennessee comes to town, it's always a great game. So that's October 10th. October 17th, you go to Vanderbilt. So I'm excited about this because I cannot remember the last time Arkansas went to Vanderbilt. Like it might have been, I think it was in 2011 when Arkansas needed a huge comeback against James Franklin in the Vanderbilt Commodores. So I love Nashville. I can't wait to go to that game. It's going to be awesome. Mid-October too. Should be beautiful. That's going to be really exciting. Then you have a bye week, so that's nice. Then on Halloween, October 31st, at home, you have the Missouri Tigers. That's right. Stay with me here. You got the Missouri Tigers, not at the end of the season. No. You play them Halloween. I'll tell you why. You all know why. We'll talk about why. So you get them at home. Then on the 7th of November, you go to Auburn. It's going to be tough. 14th of November, you have South Carolina at home. So you haven't played the Gamecocks in a while, but you did play them at home in 2022, and you beat them pretty handedly, so that was great. Then you go on the road to Texas. So once again, second to last game of the season being on the road to Texas. I look forward to that. And then finally, November 28th, the LSU Tigers. Back on Thanksgiving weekend. Back at the end of the season, and that game is at home. Outstanding. Lane Kiffin and LSU coming to town. The day, I don't know if it's the day after Thanksgiving. I guess it technically will be that Saturday, but maybe they switch it up a little bit, so maybe you'll get that. But still, the fact that you're getting LSU back at the end of the schedule, which I know there were some reports about it. Now that it's official, it's thank you, SEC. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for not making the Missouri thing something that it didn't need to be. And thank you for at least having that honoring of giving Arkansas and LSU, which has a lot of history together, because there was nothing about LSU and A&M that really anyone cared about, or LSU and Oklahoma. They had nothing about it. It makes sense to have Arkansas and LSU play again at the end of the season. So I love it. I know the schedule's difficult. We all knew what it was going to be like. It doesn't, again, I wish that it wasn't Georgia right out of the gates that Arkansas is going to have to play at home. But hey, if they go out and they beat Utah on the road, that home game against Georgia is going to be next level exciting. So at least we'll have that to look forward to. But either way, Great football schedule. 5 SEC games in Fayetteville. That's going to be exciting. On the road to Utah, which is awesome. On the road to Vanderbilt, which is unique. So once again, it's going to be a great schedule. Going to be a lot of fun, and can't wait to see it all play out. That is for sure. Razorback basketball. They got a big one tomorrow. What happens if they win? We'll talk about it. Stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I'm here to tell you about our friends over at Aura Frames. As we know, Christmas, the holiday season, they're officially here, which means gift hunting is always a very competitive thing. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers each and every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's something that shares memories. Because Aura isn't just your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, and when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone and everyone who loves those photos can make it happen. Endless photos of pictures and 30-second videos can be held on the Aura app. And the packaging comes gift ready with no price tag, no wrapping needed, just a huge overall win. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used and not forgotten in a drawer. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames. Named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now and get in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So it's kind of that game that's a lot of people have had circled, and I know I've had to. Arkansas and Texas Tech basketball happening once again. Oh, it seems like just yesterday when we lost that game and blew a 16-point lead to go to the Elite Eight and could have potentially taken on the eventual national champions and just didn't go out. I still have nightmares and frustrations from that stupid held ball, jump ball that they called after like a half second of when Nelly Davis held it. I'm not making excuses. That's not the reason why Arkansas lost the game, because you shouldn't blow a lead of 16 points with 10 minutes left to go in the game. Shouldn't do it. But man, that one hurt. And man, that one sucked. And it's just nice to be able to have in playing Texas Tech once again to try to get this little revenge game. Now, a lot of the players are different for both sides of the teams. And this game's being played in Dallas. So I'll be curious. I know a lot of Razorback fans are going to be there. I know a ton of Razorback fans are going to be there. But I know that there'll also be, I'm sure, some Texas Tech fans. They're pretty focused in on the college football playoff, though. So shout out to them. But either way, it should be an awesome game. And honestly, is it going to be the end of the world if Arkansas loses? No. But man, if they win, it's going to really solidify what a lot of people are starting to believe about them. Because when you beat Louisville, it's great. But you need something extra. You need something more. You need something to be added to the mix that makes you start believing it's like, oh yeah, this is a different deal. This is a much better team. This is a much better situation. They're actually growing. There wasn't just hey, you played one good team at home and that's the only reason why you won. You need something to kind of put it all together and to make you feel good about it all. So I can't wait. And I think that Arkansas, even though they're not favored in this game, I think Arkansas wins. I think Arkansas is having some time, pretty much a week off to get rested up and everything and get focused in on this game. And also, it just seems like Cal, when it comes to these particular matchups and getting revenge on teams, he did it on Oakland, he did it on Kentucky. He always does it on Rick Pitino anytime he has a chance to get it. So I think that that'll be something to be said here. And I think that that's when they'll really show up for him and really play well. And if Arkansas, again, if they win this game, maybe they jump up to top 15, maybe flirting with top 10, depending on what happens in front of them. But people start to really take notice. And then you got one big game. You got some other games too. You got to take care of business. But then you have that one big game against Houston up in Newark right before SEC play. And then as soon as SEC play starts, boom, you get Tennessee right there. Bang, bang, boom, really quickly. So should be really exciting, though. Should be really exciting to see how it all plays out. Can't wait to see how it all plays out. And I guess we're going to find out here soon what it's going to be all about with Arkansas basketball. But appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns you may have. Keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.